Hey everybody, so I bought these grips from AK Collectors. They're just standard Russian AKM grips. They were advertised as being made in the Tula arms plant. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I think they're beautiful. They look much better off camera. They look kind of shitty on camera, but I love them and I'm gonna install them on my AK. Now when I was looking into that, I was noticing that most of what I could find is talking about your basic steps, your basic disassembly of the entire handguard system, and then installation. But then I've heard, oh, it might require some fitting. But I couldn't find any videos on actually how to do that. So I wanted to make a video to actually explain that, especially if you're not as confident or very talented with like woodworking or something like that. I'd like to give you guys a resource so you can really see how that is actually done. So first off, I'm going to be installing the two retainer clips. I guess it's a retainer clip and a retainer spring. So we'll walk you guys through that, and then in the next part of this, I'm planning on kind of explaining how to actually fit the grips so they will have a nice tight wiggle-free, I guess, seat in your AK. Basically, so you're not going to have wiggly grips, because that is incredibly annoying, and it's just a shame for guns that can be so nice. Alright, so the easy part, the upper handguard. Yours may be different, keep that in mind. Not all handguards are made for these, however they're all very easy to modify. From what I can tell, all you really need to do is add these little cutouts, these little rounded cutouts that match the wings of this. Now this is an upper handguard retaining clip. I got it for like $3 on Apex Gun Parts. All this does is puts pressure between the handguard and the gas tube, kind of like a shim, just allowing for a tighter fit. Installation is very simple. You just find those holes, line them up with the wings, or those little pieces that stick off. So kind of like that, and then just push it in. You'll feel it move around a little bit. And then once it's in, it's in. Just make sure this bottom is flush. The wings might stick up just a little bit. There might be a little bit of distance up here, but that again helps clip the handguard. So that's installation of that part. Super, super easy. And now on the lower handguard, you will have this guy, which is a lower handguard retaining spring, also from Apex Gun Parts. I think it was also like $5 or something to that tune. This is also made in Russia. To those of you who may be worried about 922R compliance, I'm putting this on an American-made AK. But if you're worried about that, just have an American-made trigger group and you will be okay. At least as far as I know, do your research and confirm that I'm not just lying to you and gonna get you arrested. So, onto the grip. This spring pushes against the retaining, oh shoot, I don't know what to call that, retaining baffle. Basically the piece that slides over the front of the grip and holds it in place. So normally this would just slide in and stick out just a little bit, stick out about like that, a little bit further in. But I wanted to make note of this. While there are these channels cut in the grips on, which side is it? This side, it looks like there was a break right here and they put a shim in there and then they never finished it. So there's gonna have to be a little bit of material removal. You may need to make these channels a little bit deeper, or you may need to remove some material at the front. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and show you guys the finished product. So I just realized, let's see if I can get the camera to refocus here. I guess that's not gonna happen, but I just realized that that shim is actually a piece of metal, which makes sense why it's so hard. And I am going to go out on a limb and guess that it was from an old retaining pin that just broke off. So, feel pretty stupid for screwing around with that. So anyway, from this point, you should have nice, very thin channels that end in cuts that go all the way back to the finished wood. From there, it is as simple as just sliding your spring in. Now this may take a little bit of force. I'm gonna go ahead and go off camera and find a better way to push this in. I'm sure the proper, safest way would be to push this in with some kind of press. I'm gonna use a mallet. Alrighty, so part two. I've already taken the liberty of taking the upper and lower handguard off of my AK. This is the old one, beautiful piece of wood, but not quite what I'm after. This is the new one, which looks pretty sad when compared to the old one. So you will notice that when I try to put this guy in here, it's just a little bit too big. You may not be able to see that on camera actually, but it's just not going in. So the first step is going to be removing some wood from this side and this side. And actually in this case it looks like they didn't cut enough off this side. I'm seeing this now. So that's the side I'm gonna remove it from. I'm trying to keep in mind the center point. Now what this means is if you remove too much wood off of one side, it may end up going in there a little bit crooked or just being off center from the axis of the rifle. That may not bug you, but it's definitely gonna bug me. So just be careful when you are removing material to remove it evenly from both sides. And it's the same for any kind of cuts, sanding, chiseling, anything like that. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys how I'm actually doing this, get you guys just a little bit closer to see. So I'm taking chisel and go ahead and take the bottom or the flat edge of it and just very, very, very gently just work my way in. Just taking off little bits of material at a time. And I'm gonna be checking for fit every so often because it is very, very easy to take too much off. Alrighty, so I now have that chiseled down. So the next thing that I'm running into while trying to fit this grip is the bottom of the barrel. So that extends a little bit further than, or that extends far enough where this is now too tall. So I'm gonna be doing the same thing, starting by creating an angle, and then I'll be shaving some off the top. So I was able to remove enough wood from the top, so it does fit. It's a pretty tight fit, which is really what I like. And for those of you who may be wondering, I am installing these grips on a Palmetto State Armory AKV. It's 9mm AK. It's based on the Vityaz, except for the fact that it is blowback driven. So I have that fitted. Now I just need to figure out why this isn't going on. I'll get back to you in the next section. Alrighty, so figured it out. I pulled the retainer spring out and it just turns out that this is just too big and the spring is also pretty heavy. So what I mean by saying something's just too big is this area right here. Whole thing needs to come down. It doesn't look like very much, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that off with a chisel and I'll get back to y'all. Alrighty, I was able to get the grip on. It really didn't take too long, maybe a minute or two. And all I ended up doing was just cutting a bevel right all the way along there. It goes about halfway from the edge to the actual stand outside. And what that does is it allows this guy to start to slide on. So as it comes towards the back, it'll snap in nice and tight, which is the way we like things. So let's move on to the upper handguard. So for the upper handguard, I've already taken the gas tube off. I previously had the cheese grater on there. I'm not a big fan. I don't like burning my hands when I shoot unnecessarily. So in order to get this on, this is gonna be quite the endeavor. So This just so happens to not have been formed correctly. You can probably tell that it's not a perfect circle or semicircle, and so there's going to need to be a lot of material removal to get this guy to fit, because it's just too big. And that's going to have to be on both ends. So I am really looking forward to that, and I will get back to y'all once I get that material removed. So I have removed the material on both sides, and it's time to at least try to do the first fitting. Keep in mind I also have that clip in there. If you are installing this clip, don't forget, because this is really not a fun part to get on. And my feeling, at least, is once it's on, it is on. Actually gonna get a glove on. So I don't wanna get it on, have it start rattling, and then realize, oh, it's because I didn't put the clip in there, and then I have to play around with that. So it fits. It is a very, very tight fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these sides straightened out a little bit. And then, yeah, at that point, we can just throw it on the AK, and it will be done. Yep, that looks good to me. So there you have it. That is how to do the pretty monotonous but still pretty fun job of fitting new furniture to an AK. Now, in my opinion, this looks a lot better than what was originally on there. The AKV that I got did come with this set of grips, which isn't a bad look. It really isn't. These are really, really, really nice grips. However, it's an AK. I want to have fun with it. I want to take it into the woods with me, and I really just don't want to be worried about messing it up. And I don't think I would really mind scratching these grips up just a little bit. So, as always, I really hope that this helped you. You know, again, I didn't see any videos on how to do this. I had to figure it out myself. It was pretty stressful considering that these grips weren't super cheap, and it's a brand new AK, so I don't want to mess anything up on it. So again, thank you very much for watching. I hope I helped you, and I would love to hear if I did help you, or thoughts, you know, from some of the AK guys out there. If there's something that I did wrong on this, I want to know about it, so I can address that issue, at least in the comments, in the description, whatever. Take the video down if I did it completely wrong, because I would hate for you guys who are trying to do this with AKs to totally mess your AK up and you realize in 6 months, like, oh, the grips are gonna light on fire or something. Anyway, I really hope your grips don't light on fire, and take care.